Welcome. I'd like to welcome you to this series of my personal MBA, a book by Josh Kaufman. In this book, my personal MBA, Josh Kaufman talks about how to build a business from an idea stage to a successful business venture stage. And that is what we are going to learn in this series. Instead of bringing it as a 10 minutes video, I'm just going to break each concept in different episodes so that we are able to understand all the concepts of leadership and entrepreneurship that are in this great book. And you might be asking why I decided to pick the book. I picked the book because the book has a clear way of presenting fundamentals and the right mental frameworks that can be used as a basis to build any business and life for that matter. So we are going to learn all these principles and we are going to learn all these concepts. And by the end of this series, we are going to put ourselves in a position to make the right decisions at every stage of a business, from the decision stage, from the idea stage, to the stage where we are now outside in the market and generating some revenue. But before we delve into what we are going to learn, because this is an introductory video, there are a few things that we need to be on the same platform, myself and you watching. And the first thing is we need to understand that we don't have to know everything about business to start a business. All we need to know is a few critical principles and concepts that acts as the foundation that we can build and advance our knowledge as we practice whatever business we decide to start. The second thing that we need to have on the same level is to understand that we don't necessarily need an experience before we can start a business. What we have to understand, though, is that the process of gaining experience involves trying out things and failing and rising up and trying up again. So you have to have that mindset of learning, because that will enable you to rise up every time you fail on your business and make you an expert. Even the experts, people who can start businesses, transform any idea into a successful venture, they once were in a position where they could not do that. The master was once a novice. The third thing that we need to know and be on the same level is to understand. We need to understand the fact that our aim is not to have all the answers, because we cannot have all the answers. We cannot know all the methods of doing this and doing that. But the aim is to ask the right questions, because that is very important in any business, the ability to ask the right questions. If we can ask the right questions, we can get the good answers that will lead us to making the better decisions that will take our businesses forward, because businesses are moment things. Each moment, each situation, each circumstance comes with its own difficulty and challenge. And at that moment, we don't need to have all the answers, but we need to have the capacity to ask the right questions. So we can focus on that as we will be learning on this series. And finally, we have to relearn and we have to fine-tune the mental models and frameworks that we have concerning business. Up to this point, there are some mental models and frameworks that we have about business. And some of these mental models will derail us. And what a model basically is a representation of our understanding of how things work, and in this case, our business work. And some of the understandings that we have are vague, they are incorrect. So we have to fine-tune them. We have to relearn them and put ourselves in a place where we now see the same. We see things from a better mindset and mental models. So with that, we'll be able to now get deep into the concepts of the book by Josh Kaufman. And in this series, we are going to learn the following things. The first thing that we are going to learn that will enable us to take a business from an idea stage to a successful venture stage is how businesses work. And we are going to learn that a successful business is one that creates a value. They create something that people want, and people are willing to pay for it at the price that this business is asking for it, and it satisfies the needs and expectations of these people in such a way that it makes enough profit to make it worthwhile for its owners, and also to provide enough money to keep operation. And we are also going to delve deep into value creation, marketing, sales, value delivery, and finance. The second thing we are going to learn is how people work. One is too small of a number to achieve significance. And businesses are made of the people, for the people, and by the people. So we must understand how people work. We have to understand how people make decisions, how people act on those decisions, and what drives people to do the things that they do. It's very important to study our employees, to study our partners, to study our customers, and these are people. So we need to understand them to make our business successful. We are going to learn that in this series. The third thing that we are going to learn is how systems work. And a system basically is something that comprises of an input, a process, and an output. And businesses are more like a system. And they start as simple systems where you may be dealing with one customer, then they grow to very complex systems. So the key is to understand how the simple systems work and ensure that they work well. Because if you have a simple system that works well, then you can scale it and make it into a more complex systems that even achieve greater results. So we are going to learn how systems work and how to get the best out of them. So with that, we are going to put ourselves in a platform or a position where we have the right techniques, where we have the right methodologies, we have the right principles that will act as the basis. Remember, these are going to be the basis, the foundational. It doesn't mean it's everything that we need to know, but it is the foundation. And it's very good to have that foundation because the principles of any subject are the most important because you can always build on them. And what we have to know going forward is that our ideas are like our children. And we don't want to take our children to the world in rags. We want to package them well. We must learn the right techniques, the right principles, and the right mechanisms that will enable us package our ideas well so that when we present them to the world see them for what they are, for the value that is in them. Because we have the ability to do that, to not be misunderstood. So we are going to build better businesses when we finish this series. And you don't have to finish. It's a long series. You don't have to wait until we finish the series. Like I said, you don't have to know everything. But what you need to know is to keep building on it as we keep learning and as we keep growing together. Thank you very much for tuning in. It's my pleasure to be sharing all this content with you. And I'd kindly ask you to subscribe and hit the notification button so that when I release now the first video of this series, you will be notified and we'll be working together. Thank you and adieu.